folks, I'm Tom Vassell. Welcome to Crowdsurfing, show in which we talk about Kickstarter and other fundraising sites, but mostly Kickstarter, and the board games on them. And so we got different contributors talking about different things, and I'm going to give you maybe some news about Kickstarter, so let's get started. Okay, so in the news, well, first of all, we're going to take a look at some projects here from Kickstarter. First, we have Nerdfest. This is the comic convention game. This is a game about a convention. So the artness is, it's okay. But in this game, you're collecting swag and things. So it's kind of an interesting idea. I think the idea of a convention is an interesting theme for a game. I just wish that they weren't either, they lean towards sometimes being too funny or being too specific. I just want a good, solid game. Speaking of conventions, there's a convention that's being kickstarted, Big Bad Con 2017. This is going to happen this year, October 13th through 15th in the California Bay Area. And they are trying to grow some. That's what this Kickstarter is for. It's done very well. They're going to have more rooms for teenagers to get teenagers into gaming. So how can we not support something like that? Archmage. This is a game. Well, first of all, I'll give the disclaimer. This game is from GameSalute. And if I were you, I would not back a game from GameSalute, but everyone can back what they want. The game does have fantastic pieces with tiles and cards and about becoming the Archmage is kind of a tired theme, but the game itself looks good, but buyer beware, of course. Dwarven Smithy. This one is probably not going to fund at this point in time, but it has really good reviews, and it's about, well, being a Dwarven Smith. The card laying, some people compared it to Splendor, looks fast and interesting, but I do know they're going to relaunch it, so I thought I'd put it on people's radars for the next time it swings around. Kitchen Rush, this is from Artipia. I tend to like Artipia games. I think they do a lot of fun things. This is a real-time game. Now, I'm not sure how many people are going to like a real-time cooperative game, but it's like simulating a kitchen. We know this because in the intro video, they show a lot of stock clips from kitchens. But in this, you're placing timers out as workers, and everyone, it's supposed to be like this frenzied kitchen thing. So I think I'll be interested in this. I think I like it, and I think there's a lot of people who are not going to like it because people are not necessarily, people are usually love it or hate it when it comes to frenzied co-op timed games. Then we got Samhain. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is a game in which players are playing Celtic clans. The Roman attack is coming. You're prepping for that. One of the things, there's a couple things I noticed about this project. First of all, I thought it was a pretty low price point. So I'm not sure how big it is, but it looks like you're getting a good deal for your game. Also, they have this upgrade meeple kit in there that's fantastic. Why would you use the cubes? And it wasn't even that expensive. And all these little kind of wooden meeples, and they're all different. I was pretty fascinated by that. I almost wanted to back it and just buy several of those for other games. Then let's see, Zombicide Green Horde. Well, do I even need to talk about this one? It's at 3.2 million as we speak. A couple interesting things about this project is 120. That's a pretty high price point to come in. CMON nowadays has this, basically one pledge level, which is not bad. And you do get a lot with this, of course. There's 72 miniatures that come with the game, and there's already 58, as of me recording this, extra miniatures because of stretch goals and stuff. It's doing extremely well. There's a dragon, a trebuchet, a ballista. It's basically just a sequel to Zombicide Black Plague, except now all the zombies are orcs who have gone bad, and it's just... it's one of the, again, CMON has this Kickstarter thing down. The miniatures look great. Everyone already knows about the game. It's not like the game is a new type of game. You can combine it with other Black Plague stuff, so I'm sure it will do very well. Here is my Kickstarter pick of the week, and that is the Component Collector. Now, the Component Collector from Dogmite Games, as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, and watched it. And I backed this one because I think this stuff is amazing. These are little containers. I think you get 8 or 9 of them in a pack, and you connect them together. They have rare earth magnets, and you can put them in any configuration you want, and they hold your bits. Again, this just seems like such a silly thing, but it was... we're always looking for bowls and things that hold your bits, but to have them all fit together, you can put them around, they're not going to get scattered. I mean, when you look at the pictures on the Kickstarter, you see them there, and you can have ones that hold cards, one that hold bits. It's just a really fantastic, neat thing, and I'm really looking forward to getting these. I went and looked at them at Origins in person, just very, very, very impressed with them. Minerva, this is from Pandasaurus Games by Hisashi Hayashi, who is very popular right now. One of the most well-known designers, did Yokohama and Trains. And this game is another Euro-style game, a tile-laying game where you're building a city together. I mean, it looks like a decent game, but I'm excited because I just got Pandasaurus's newest game, and their production quality is like through the roof at this point. So that has me very pleased. King Cat. Now this one is probably not going to fun, but it caught my eye because it said it was for cat lovers and for cat haters. And in this, the cat lovers are trying to lure cats to them, and the cat haters are trying to blow them up or put them in a blender. I'm a cat hater. I'm not necessarily sure I'd put a cat in a blender. Actually, let me rephrase that. I would never put a cat in a blender. And what if everyone at the table is all cat lovers, or they're all cat haters, but it seems like you have to be both? I don't know. But the tagline caught my eye anyway. So if you hate or like cats, that's for you. That's everyone? Maybe if you're neutral about cats. Well, anyway. Helionox, the deluxe edition. This is the second Kickstarter from this company. The first one, I mean, wow, night and day between this deluxe edition and the old edition. This is a deck building game. It comes with another expansion called the Mercury Protocol. You're trying to influence different worlds so you can become some great thing, and some space theming. The artwork is phenomenal. The box, it just looks great. I think I saw a box of this at Origins. I'm just really pumped. This one looks like a fantastic game. I can't wait to see the final product. Coville, Dark Overlords. This game says it's a tribute to 70s, 80s, and 90s cartoons, which is obvious since one of the characters looks very similar to Inspector Gadget. It's made by the same company who made Dwarves and Centauri Saga. I think Sam likes Centauri Saga. Dwarves, or Dwarves with a 7 in it, the rules were unintelligible. It was actually a game I never reviewed because I could not figure out how to play it. So hopefully the rules are better than that. It looks good. It has this cute look to it, where you have these armies attacking each other. And again, I'm not really sure how the 70s, 80s, 90s cartoon theme fits in that, but it just has a nice look to it. It doesn't look like it's taking itself too seriously. Unlike the next one, Conan Rise of Monsters, looks very serious. Pulposaurus, this is a relaunch. I'm not sure why they stopped the other one. This is just a straight up miniatures style game where there's lots of Conan games out there now. But this one here, I don't know if that I would be that interested in the game itself. The graphic design is based on the comic books. You can tell that. The miniatures are phenomenal. There's a huge elephant and a war rhino, and the stuff looks really cool. I just don't know how interested I am in getting into another miniatures game, but obviously a lot of people are because it's doing well. And then finally, Groves. I really like the theming of this one. Like the land has like withered away, some fairyland, and it's up to you as you're like a spirit bringing back the trees and things. So you're building trees, you're using warps to get into different areas. It has a really good look on it. A tile laying style game. It just feels fresh and interesting as opposed to, say, Archmage. So anyway, those are the projects that caught my eye. Let's keep going.
Oh hey, what's funding? Just enough time to take a quick look at a game that's crowdfunding right now, and today we're looking at Metal Dawn. So here we're taking a look at Metal Dawn. Now, this is a cooperative game where players will be working together to try to defeat Dominus, which is this rogue AI that is trying to destroy the world. In order to do so, they're going to try to hack the satellite and eventually bring this robot crashing down to Earth and defeat it in an epic boss battle. Players will be moving around the board, taking various actions, gathering weapon, gear, intel, things like that, attacking monsters that are out on the board, and eventually hacking the satellite itself in order to bring it down. The mobs, by default, you don't know their defense value until you either attack them or reveal them, and in doing so, then you can see their defense value. If you can meet or exceed it, then they're removed from the board. In order to hack out things, you actually will declare the action, play an intel card, and select one of these, and if it meets or exceeds, then you have taken care of it. If you ever get rid of all 5 of these, then the robot comes crashing down and you switch over to a different game mode using these cards. After all players have taken their turns, then it's time for the game to react. The game will attack with any units out on the board, and then spawn new units. When units spawn, they'll spawn into the zone indicated on the card, and if it's full, they'll spill into adjacent areas. If, however, the adjacent areas are also full, the terror track will go up. Along the way, you'll also be able to pick up top secret missions, you'll have special abilities that you can use, but if before the terror track reaches here, you manage to defeat the robot, then you have won. If on the other hand, the track reaches the end and Metal Dawn occurs, then the players have lost. So that's a look at Metal Dawn. Now that is an earlier prototype of the game, so some things may have changed. The game itself is fun, it's difficult, and it gave me that same feeling that I got playing other games like Pandemic in the beginning until I sort of figured out their puzzle. The thing that I like about this game is I feel like because of the way the random elements in the game that I don't know that I'd ever solve this puzzle. The groups I've played with have found it fun and challenging, and unfortunately we've yet to get a victory. The artwork in the game is perfect for this theme, and I must stress, this game is thematic. It has a retro and a future feel to it, and I really enjoy that. If you have been playing a lot of cooperative games and that's something your group's into, and maybe you want to step up to something more thematic, this might be a good game for you to take a look at. The only knock that I really had on the game is the standees. I personally would have preferred miniatures. It's not make or break for me, but this game feels like miniatures would have given it that little extra oomph. If this looks like something that you might want to take a look at, head over to their Kickstarter page, and I'll see you guys next time.
I'm Tracy, the Gaming Maven.
And I'm Stefan, the games teacher.
And well, honey, look what I backed.
Uh-oh.
So the game is called Groves. It is designed by Steve Aramy and Dan Lietzring. It is published by Letterman Games. Plays 1 to 4 players in about 60 minutes. So you can kind of guess it's about trees, but it's also about the spirits in the forest. And what I like about this game is it has similar mechanics to some of my other more favorite games with the whole pool building, or in this case bag building. So Orleans does something similar. Keyflower doesn't use a bag per se, but some of the mechanics in this game are very similar to Keyflower. In one case, it is if you take your workers and you place them in a neighborhood's, in an opposing player's grove using one of their abilities on one of their tiles that they place down, then they actually take your meeple or your workers into their bag, so you lose it.
Interesting.
So similar to Keyflower, it does the same thing. So you got to decide, do you want to use that ability, or do you want to hold on to your workers?
You had me at Keyflower, and the theme and the art in this one looked pretty good too, so I'm really looking forward to checking that out. So that's all right, because I also backed something. Honey, guess what I backed?
What?
I backed Rise of Tribes. Nice. This is a new one from Brad Brooks. Previously he designed Letter Tycoon.
Yes.
Published by Breaking Games, and it plays 2 to 4 players in about 60 to 90 minutes for ages 10 and up. Again, bright, colorful artwork. It's set in the dawn of mankind, when mankind is just starting to develop tribal connections. The artwork is fantastic. I really like the action board, the action selection mechanism on the player's action boards, and how your actions influence other tribes' activities and movement on the board as well. So really looking forward to this one. Check it out on Kickstarter. That's Rise of Tribes from Breaking Games.
Mm-hmm. So those are our picks for this week's segment, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
One of the things that bugs me about Kickstarter is Kickstarter itself. Now, Kickstarter, when it came onto the scene, was the only thing. And like many other websites like eBay and Amazon and Google, just did not have a lot of competition. Now, Google has competition, but they've kind of squashed it. Many of that happens. Kickstarter really doesn't have any strong competition. Indiegogo has made a big surge in the past months to try to catch up to Kickstarter, but it really isn't happening. So Kickstarter is the big dog, the one and only to some degree for fundraising. There are other fundraising things that happen at Origins. I saw another one where they're trying to have a game-specific fundraising platform, but it's just hard for these guys to get a foothold, because why would you go there when there's already a big audience at Kickstarter? I'm not sure monopolies like this are good for the industry, but I also don't see any way around it. However, my gripe about this is not, well, I don't like monopolies anyway, but My gripe about this is that Kickstarter, when you look at Kickstarter now in 2017 and you look at Kickstarter in 2012 or whenever it started, there's not a huge difference. Kickstarter is a very unwieldy website. It's difficult to navigate. If you run a project through them, which I've run several, it's very difficult. The end result is not exacting. Their staff picks seem capricious at best. The whole thing is just kind of a mess. But everybody uses it because it's what's there. And I feel that this is unfortunate. You know, every year or every once in a while, a Kickstarter representative comes and says, we'd like to talk to you about Kickstarter. And I'm like, yes, I got a list of things. Let me talk to you. And they've never changed any of these things. They never really seem to improve because they don't have to. And because of this, a whole plethora of other websites and other companies have sprung up to help you better search Kickstarter, to help companies after Kickstarter. And over the next several episodes, I'm going to talk about some of these websites and some of these other things that help people with Kickstarter and just different things that I've noticed as time goes by that are useful. I just wish that these other things did not have to exist and that Kickstarter would try to make their stuff better. But they're literally sitting there with a website that's getting them 5% of every project. The other 5% goes to credit card companies and stuff. And, they're doing quite well. But we're not seeing a lot of improvements. And it's not like, ooh, new features on Kickstarter. When I get a message from Kickstarter, it's usually basically just to brag about how well Kickstarter did that year. Well, fantastic. I'm glad it's doing well. But I don't know. I don't know if even me saying this means anything, right? It's not like you, the listeners, can do anything about it. I just wish more people would speak up against it, and I wish there'd be more of a groundswell to force Kickstarter to put in a better search engine or a way to browse the projects on their website, that there would be better backends for people who create the projects, and that they would improve and do different things to treat Kickstarter like a more interesting website. But who knows, that may never happen. But since it is the way it is, like I said, we'll talk about some of these great websites in future shows. Meanwhile, let's keep going.
Hi, this is Jamey with Stegmaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about one of my Kickstarter lessons, how to effectively research other Kickstarter projects. This is a key thing that I recommend to creators when they're thinking about either preparing for or thinking about launching a Kickstarter campaign or any crowdfunding campaign. I recommend that they go to Kickstarter or Indiegogo or some crowdfunding platform and back at least 5 to 10 projects. I'm kind of always amazed by the number of people who want to run a Kickstarter project but haven't ever actually backed one or have only backed 1 or 2. There's a huge value in pledging even $1 to a project and following that project to learn from the things that creator does effectively and the things that creator does that turn you off or frustrate you as a backer. If you have that experience as a backer, as someone who is at least partially invested in a project, then you can learn so much about how you as a creator can either emulate or do something different than that creator did or that project did. I recommend backing really 10 projects, up to 10 projects if you haven't already backed 10. And among those 10, pay attention to when you are engaged by project updates and when you actually unsubscribe to project updates. Pay attention to that. I recommend backing at least one project that isn't in the category that your product will be in, because you might learn a lot from the way a different category operates, and you can bring that knowledge into your project. And I recommend being involved in the comments of at least one of the projects. By being involved in the comments and kind of being either participating or just reading the comments, you can learn a lot about the way that people interact with and engage with creators and the way that creators effectively or ineffectively engage with and communicate with backers. I highly recommend this to any creator who's thinking about running a Kickstarter campaign or any crowdfunding campaign. Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Mandy.
Hi guys, I'm Carol.
And today we're going to be talking about Kickstarters that we think need a little bit of love, or well, we just love them. So Carol, tell me what you have planned for us today.
Okay, so for this week, I'm looking at a game that has a lot of check marks for me. Beautiful art, area control, and trick-taking. I'm talking about Radiant from Tinchu Games. So Radiant is played over 3 ages, where 2 to 4 players will draft cards from an open selection at the beginning of each age, making up their hand that they'll use to win battles through trick-taking and by creating card combinations for scoring immediate points. Battles are played out on a board where a marker is moved to indicate the realm it is taking place in, which determines the cards you can play since the only race native to that realm is valid. That is, unless one of the races is currently Radiant, in which the race can be played in any realm. Battles are won through card suits according to a ranking system, and the highest ranking card earns the victor control of that region as well as the ability to choose where the next battle will take place. So, there's a lot of reasons why Radiant is my pick. It combines a lot of great elements we've seen previously in different games, but it also looks like it melts all of them in one cohesive game really well. I also love the fact that areas are fought over by trick-taking, and I'm really interested in knowing that the 4-player count will be played in a 2 versus 2 team.
I don't know, two versus two, it always kind of, I'm like, I never know how that's going to play out, but then the trick-taking aspect sounds really interesting to me. So I had to pick one that, okay, did need a little love, but okay, I'm sorry. I hummed and hawed about it, so I finally just backed it. It's Rise of Tribes by Breaking Games. It plays in about 30 to 60 minutes, and it's for ages 10 and up. So of course, it has dice, which I like, so dice placement, but this is kind of different because it uses a pushing kind of mechanic with the dice. So you get 2 actions per turn, and you're going to be able to grow, move, gather, or lead in the game. So it's like a modular hex world that you're creating, and you get to decide how you want your development to flourish. I don't know. I liked the art in the game. I like the diversity in the game, and I don't know. I like using dice as placement and to take your actions. So that really appealed to me.
I also heard that this game plays in less than an hour, which I'm really intrigued about too.
I know, like I'm always used to these really heavy games that I love, but I mean, if it can still have interest and play in under an hour, I'd be really curious to see how that works. People have been comparing it to Deus a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which I really enjoyed, and I win at that one, so. So that's my pick for this week for, you know, Kickstarters that I just love. We have Carol's pick at Radiant, and my pick is Rise of Tribes. So go check them out. That's it for this week, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
And that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for watching Crowd Surfing. This is, again, it's a show in which we're going to talk about the different Kickstarters, and it's usually every other week. This one in particular was a week late, and sometimes that will happen because of just conventions and things like that. But we'll try to put out 2 of these a month or so we hope that you enjoy them as time goes by. Love to hear your feedback. If there's a Kickstarter project that you think other people should talk about, hey, mention it in the comments below, of course. Anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and this has been Crowd Surfing on the Dice Tower.